All right. So you said an upsell,
Yeah.
and that was one of the notes that I took yesterday. Would you just go over like your wording that you're talking about?
Yeah. I upsell for sewer scope and termite. So if they don't either do my bundle and save or they don't select those two add-on services, they'll get an email sent out 2 to 3 hours later. The termite just basically says, hey, typically a termite inspection is required during the home sale transaction. If you have somebody already, but if you don't, I can help you with that. And then my sewer scope just talks about, what, that is not part of a typical home inspection and, the things that can go wrong and basically tell them I can help you with that too. I don't do them myself. Either one of those I don't do myself. I schedule through subcontractors. But then I also have that in actions that if they do schedule either after confirmation or before confirmation, emails go out to my subs to schedule them.
And you said that if someone has not scheduled termite, that it was like half of the people go ahead and add it when you're using the phrase that it's typically required.
Yeah.
Okay. Chris, I want to call on you because I know you have probably explored actions, at least from what I've seen, maybe more than anybody.
I have. Yeah, let me, if you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen and I'm just going to go over some of the things that I've learned, some of the things that I've done, some of the things that I've been doing, and hopefully these tips will be helpful to others. And like I said, you guys may already be doing these, I don't know, but I'm just going to throw it out there and you guys use what you will. All right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so you disabled screen share. Can you enable so I can share?
Let me see.
Okay. All right.
Did I do it?
Yeah, I did. Now I just got to find which one to share. Hold on a second. ExpressVPN. Nope. Messages, reminder. Safari. Okay. All right. Hold shift to select multiple. Okay. So I'm going to share this. Okay. Now I got to open up my sharing. Hold on a sec. Okay. Can you guys see it? Can you guys hear me? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can hear you and see it.
All right.
I can.
Okay, so first thing, I'm just going to kind of go over the general idea. So what I've done is I have found that, as you get into your actions, you're going to start seeing that they just get really, really long. That's nothing. I haven't even built it really out to much as I want. So you can see it gets complex within your groups. So what I decided to do is I have created action groups that break out what it is. So like my advanced well inspections, anything to do with advanced well inspections are going to go in that group. Water test, anything's going to go in the test, and mold testing and so forth. Any of your ancillary services you want to break out. And the reason you want to do that is when you have to tweak it, which you will have to tweak it, you can easily go to the area that you need to tweak. So, with the client area, I'm keeping it for the client scheduling and the report scheduling and so forth, or excuse me, the inspection scheduling and so forth. And that way I keep it clean. So that's the first tip. break up your actions according to group so that you can easily back in and tweak them when you need to. All right. The second thing I'll say is within the groups, make sure you name your categories, your type and name. So if, like, you can see at the top here that I have inspection only scheduled email. I know that that action is for exactly what that is. I've seen others where they are creating actions and they're just like email, text, you don't know what they are. And I'm telling you, once you start digging into actions, you're going to be in a world of hurt when you got to make changes. So make sure that you properly name them and make them specific to what that action is doing. Okay. The other tip that I'm going to put is over here. This is a text. You can see scheduled only text. And then I'm going to show in the body of the text, I've added that. You guys see where it says automated text from Cochrane Home Inspections? The reason I did that is because there are several, Spectora is growing in popularity. So you're starting to see it being used more and more. And what's happening is realtors are getting multiple notifications from the Boulder, Colorado, wherever the Colorado is from Spectora. So they don't know who's texting them. So you're firing off your text from your actions or even automations, and it's just saying this. And so they think it's Inspector Bob over here, where it may be Inspector Shane over here. And so right away, putting that little caveat, that star that says automated text from Cochrane Home Inspections, they know it came from me and that it's automated. And then that way you can say, okay, I know I'm not going to text back to this because it's automated. I'm going to text back. And I've reached out to realtors who use me a lot and say, text back my number, not the number from the automation. So they kind of know. It just helps the realtors break out what's going on when your automated texts go out.
Hey, I'll jump in really quick and just say, if you pay the $15 for the text line through Spectora, it won't come from the Colorado number. You'll have a local number that only your texts come to and from.
Can they text back to that number, or is it still software based?
Yeah, they can text back and you'll get the responses. You can't have a conversation on there. Like, they get the automated text, they can reply. And then from there, you have to just text them from like your other number.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the same of what happens with the Colorado number. You still have to text back with yours. So this is, I got you. So it's a local number.
Yeah, it's just a local number and no other company shares it. That's all.
That is a good point. Okay, I got you. All right. But it still kind of functions the same. It's just like what you said. Okay. All right. So that was that. The other tidbit I had was I just learned this recently when they changed and added, and boy, I fought hard for it, guys. I mean, I really had discussions with the WAG staffs. They've listened. I know they got a lot on their plate, but I try to tell them what are game changing things that really affect. And I told them, in essence, from my perspective, I don't want to sound like I'm telling them what to do, but I'm giving them suggestions about how they could help us make it better. And one of the things that was really important, and I'm just building this out, is the ability to be able to have actions fire off of your custom fields. What that in essence does is that adds literally infinite possibilities for being able to do actions at that point, because you can create an action for anything. A custom field for anything, and then have an action fire based on what you've chosen in those fields. And so, I mean, the sky's the limit. So I'll just show you one that I've made that I thought was pretty useful. Not this one, sorry. It's this one, which I'm still working on building this one out. I got more work to do. But you can see right here in my rules section that, let me open that up. So that's what I've done. So I have a custom field in my scheduling that has advanced well inspections. And it basically has request, denied, ordered. It has different, drop down functions. And any one of those, you see it has all those. So I can add whatever I want. In this case, this action that I created says, okay, 3 hours after I've scheduled the inspection, sorry, come back to this. 3 hours after I've scheduled the inspection, if they have not ordered the advanced well inspection, then this one fires, and it fires based on what I choose. And if I choose request, that's what it's going to fire off of. So if they've denied it, it ain't going to send the action. If I haven't verified it, they're not going to send the action. It's not going to send the action. Only when I say request it, it will send it. Sorry.
A quick question, as far as the 3 hours, how did you come to the 3 hours? Was that just a number you picked out of the air, or have you seen like better results depending on the timing?
Well, here's the thing. When you send an email out, it's going to, in essence, it's going to basically, when you send another one out afterwards, it's going to I don't want to say overwrite, because it doesn't overwrite, but it pushes down your original email. And people just, they're not always looking at the chain. And so I want to make sure that they at least get a chance to look at the email before I fire off the upsell. But then again, I also wanted to go out in a timely manner. So honestly, 3 hours, I guess in essence, I pulled out from the air. But I just felt that it was a good time for them to get the inspection and then to offer an upsell after. Okay, so that was it for that. Those are the tips and tricks that I have that just off the top of my mind come out. And yeah, so I'm good.
All right. Yeah, that sounds good. We appreciate you sharing that. I will be happy to share mine. And well, first of all, does anybody else have any that they have that they're proud of, that are working well? I've been thinking a lot about timing as far as follow-ups for selling. I've been paying attention to like what other companies are doing if I sign up for their product. How quickly are they emailing me again? How often are they offering more services and things like that? But that's just something I've only just now started to really think about and focus on. But apart from that, does anybody else have anything that they want to share as far as what they have set up? No? All right. Well, I will screen share mine then. So I have not built it out anywhere nearly as much as Chris has, but there are a couple of things that I've done that have worked well for me as far as like increasing responses and things like that. The first one is, it was based on the Spectora Spotlight podcast where Adam Pontier was the guest. And what he talked about was in the email, no, not that one, to the client, that he broke it out, basically color coded everything. So this is one thing that I changed, and it was like immediately once I did this, I started seeing more people replying to this email and adding the additional services. And this is just in the confirmation where I send over the link that they can go ahead and sign the agreement and pay. And then it says, here are the services we're performing for you. These are all the services we offer. Reply to this email to add any. And then I list out what the different things, and I mentioned that we do a bundle down here. One thing that I do for this one is it comes from the company. If they reply to that one, then it will go to a virtual assistant. So then she just automatically clicks add to whatever they choose to add. So all of this happens. I don't have to think about it or do anything. It just happens.
Can you say that last sentence you just said? You send it to somebody and then you say it again?
Yeah, I have a virtual assistant. So when they respond to that, it's coming, because it's coming from that company email address. The reply, if the client clicks reply, it goes to a company email address that's forwarded to a virtual assistant that has admin access on my Spectora account. That way I don't have to go in and answer these emails or add the service or anything. It just happens without me doing anything.
If you don't mind me asking, sorry, a little off topic.
No,
who are you
go ahead.
using as your virtual?
So there's a local person that does virtual assistant services here. And the reason I chose her is because she's a licensed agent in my area. So another thing that I have is if you go up here to like when things get scheduled, actually it's on the scheduler option, but basically anytime an inspection gets scheduled, she gets an email. So then she logs into that inspection and looks to see, she'll look up the listing and then look up all the listing agents info. That way my client or my client's agent doesn't have to come up with that person's email address, but all of my actions that I want to go to the listing agent can still happen. So she just goes in behind the scenes, adds all that stuff in, and it just kind of helps things work smoothly. But that's, she wouldn't be as helpful outside of my market because she's got local MLS access. That's the key for that one.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
So I'll go over this. I don't do my own radon. So for those of you that are not using Actions at all, I'll cover this really quickly. If someone orders radon, then it just sends her an email. And then you also have to do it if they remove, like if the inspection is not canceled, but they decide to cancel radon, you have to do radon removed, radon added after it's already scheduled. If the inspection's rescheduled, she needs an email. If the inspection canceled, and then you have to go through for every different service. So I have like residential inspection, and I also have a bundle inspection where I add extra services. So you have to go through every inspection type for every different event that could happen that she needs to know about and create a new action. So when you're using subcontractors for different things, that is, it just creates a lot of actions that you have to build. And that's before you really get into any complexity. That's just simply having different options for people to buy. Here's another one that we talked about yesterday, and that is when a radon report gets uploaded, then an email goes out to the clients. It also CCs the agents. You choose the, I'm just going to click into this one and show you the event is 0 hours after a report attachment added, after scheduling and confirmation. The rule is it has a report attachment name contains radon, and they've paid, and the agreement is signed. The reason I have those two is because if they haven't paid or signed, they still haven't even seen the original report, and that radon's going to be sitting there anyway. They don't need an extra email when the radon is done. Most of the time, my radon gets done before the inspection happens. So if they haven't even paid, then I don't want to bother them with it. The action is it sends an email, and then the details, it just says your radon test is completed and ready to view, and then gives them the inspection link. So anyway.
Hey, just real quick, I want to piggyback on what you just said. So can you open it back up again?
Sure.
The email side of it, the subject. Yeah, okay. So, and can you scroll down the placeholders? Go down to inspection, right? Yeah, stop right there. So I just want to, for those of you who are just kind of filling this out, I just want to point out that I learned the hard way that you do not want to put the report link on your email. What's going to happen is, and this is something I realized recently, is going to put the reports that you publish. It's not going to put a link to anything that was added, like a water test result, a mold lab result, anything like that. If you're adding as an attachment, it's not going to do that. So you have to make sure that you put the inspection link, because that's going to go up to their generic inspection information, and all the reports will be shown. So they can click on the added report that you added. So don't use, when you're doing for reports that are added, use that inspection link. And then if you're sending a text out, which I do, make sure you use the inspection text link, because it's different from the inspection link, which is set up for email. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, you're definitely right. The other thing is this will take them to the backside of the paywall too. So their invoices there, all their other documents, the additional reports that you're adding, everything like that, they can look at through the inspection link. I quit using the report link altogether. I just send the inspection link every time, because I just want to keep showing them, keep going back to that one spot. That's their source for everything I have for them. So
you know,
that's
and another quick thing I saw, little things. I also, you chose the exact time frames for Texas to fire as I did. I do 7 to 8:30. I just noticed that and I was like, he chose 8:32. I just felt 8:30. Anytime after that, people get angry when you start blowing up their phone. So I also chose 8:30.
Yeah, and I don't have that for everything, because I figure if they're scheduling at 10 p.m. at night, they're up and ready for it. So, you know, they immediately get that confirmation and feel, you know, affirmed in that. So, but yeah, for a lot of things I do, if I have a limitation on the time, it is 7, what was it, 7 to 7:30? I'll go back in and show everyone that. So this one triggers once, send only during certain hours, then you can pick the time frame. So if you don't want something going off at different hours, you're uncomfortable with that, you can block that off. And then also you can click do not send on weekends. So like, I don't know, if you have a text message, you don't really want people responding, you don't want to be bothered or anything, or you don't want to bother them. Say it's like an agent, you kind of want to respect their weekends, you can click that as well.
Does anybody know here, like templates where you can share templates? Is there any way to share actions with other people?
There is not,
No.
but they are, because I just did like a Zoom call, like that round table thing they do every once in a while, and they said they are working on that. Either templates or community sharing or something, so that way giving somebody something to go on instead of having to invent all this on their own.
Yeah,
And then also they were talking.
I could use all your stuff for Radon Runner.
Yeah. So another one that they were talking about was the ability to embed like one-click add-ons, where you could post a link into this email, and if the client clicks it, they can add their services themselves, which I think they said that's going to come out like spring or something like that. That'll be really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
For all these upsells. They don't have to respond back or call you. You don't have to do anything. They do it for themselves.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So let me see here.
Something else on improvements that I'm seeing while you guys are talking about improvements, I've pushing really hard. I pushed hard to add the or function, because
That's been awesome.
And I was like, you guys got to add it. But realized when they did it, they added the or function. So they basically you can have and or. But
Right.
what we need to make these fully functional, we need an and or function. And so that way you could say, hey, if this and this are good, or this, then you can have, and what that'll do is that'll make these even more useful. So I've been beating them up. I'm pretty sure it's on the docket for them to add that, but that'll be another huge upgrade as well.
Yeah, I agree. And like you were, just to go back to what you're talking about with the custom modifiers, I was also in the chat blowing that up, posted it on the whatever that thing is where you request new services and stuff like that. The same thing for the custom modifiers, because I had an idea in my head of how I wanted to use it. And I went to set it up, and then I realized I also need a rule where I can pick which inspectors on my team, because like as the business is growing, I've got some guys that are brand new, and then I've got myself, I'm still out in the field. So like if there's a new service, then like with the, oh gosh, what is it? The service limitations, you can basically only pick like If it has a termite inspection, only these two guys can do it. But this last guy can't take any job with a termite. But if it was opened up, so it was like, if it has a termite and it has that inspector, then send this email to a subcontractor. But if it's, myself or the other licensed termite inspector, we don't need a subcontractor. So having the ability to have a rule based on which inspector, so that was something I asked for in that call. I don't know if or when that'll come, but that'll be good. Another way I have, moving on, unless anybody has any questions at this point. Nothing? All right. So one way that I have been using the action is I have this build to close. I do offer this, whether you do or not, that's irrelevant, just an idea of how to use actions. So here's how I do it. If they schedule an inspection, has the service add-on build to close for residential or the bundle, then it will send this email. The email will go to the client and their agent from the company, and it does this. It says how to have your inspection paid at closing. I've posted the PDF of our agreement on that link. They can click there and download it and fill it out, sign it, send it to your title agent along with a copy of your invoice, which you can get here. Forward all of that to the office. If you have not completed these steps, you will not be able to view your inspection report. So it's just one more way to automate something. That way, if there is something like that, here's your rules, here's your steps. If you want to see this report, you either got to pay for it or do this for me. And so that's one thing I came up with, because it's super rare. Like, I've probably had less than 10 people that are using build to close. But on those 10 times, it's like I have to hold their hand and, oh yeah, I got to email them that PDF and everything. So I was just like, all right, it's time to make this an action. I hosted that on my website, quick link, made it easy. So now I don't have to do anything. I'm big about not having to do anything. This is a sewer offer, and this is just for an example. I get like usually a couple of people a month that'll respond to this and add a sewer scope based on this. I feel like I could really improve that. But basically, I just stole a picture from Google and tried to kind of irritate that pain point of we don't know what's under in your sewer, and reply to this email to add a sewer camera. Hopefully in the future, we can just have a button, click here to add the sewer.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, go for it.
On top, if you scroll down a little bit, where it says year built, is that automatically populated, or do you have to populate it every time you go in?
No, that's one of the placeholders. So over here, you can, which there are a lot more placeholders than just these. There's an article that Spectora has, and you can find more. But you can just click this. It'll add that placeholder. And then what that's going to do is pull that info from the property data.
Perfect. Thank you.
And there's all of this stuff: fees, price, address, year built, square feet, inspection time, inspection date. So you can add these into any email. The person's name, you can go with just their first name or their full name, depending on how personal you want to make it, and all that kind of stuff. So these, yeah, that's just a placeholder. It'll fill out itself. The only, I don't know if I have a lot else to show as far as ways I'm using it that I think maybe are outside of like typically what you'd think of. This is for one of the inspectors on the team. So basically I said, if you go to open houses, if you do anything like that and meet new agents, bring me their card. if you feel like you've sold them, they're going to use our company and they never have before, I'm going to take their card. I'm going to look through our contacts. And if they've never used us before, I will add their name in, their email address and everything. I'll add them a tag, which is based on the employee's name, referred by Paul. And then it'll send both of us a text that just says, cha-ching, an agent that you referred just scheduled an inspection and then collect $25. That reminds both of us that he's going to get that $25 bonus every time they book an inspection, regardless of who does it. That's how I chose to do it. So anyway, that's just one other thing. You can kind of use it as an incentive. I'm going to stop screen sharing. All right. Anybody else have anything or any questions on how to take advantage?
So I have a question that is actually, it doesn't have anything to do with advanced features if you don't care. It's more about scheduling.
Okay.
Is anybody using the quote features? And if you're not, or if you are, what do you think pros and cons of it are versus just the scheduler?
I just use the online scheduler.
Yeah. So I have both on my website, and I've
got
noticed
both.
I've went to a lot of Spectora users' websites and noticed they just do the scheduler. My thought is it is kind of nice to give them that option of being able to get a price before they go, because I worry that maybe not having to go through all the steps to get a price might push them away. Whereas if they can get a price right away, then they can continue through with the scheduling. So I use both. On my website, I really pushed it. It's an instant quote. It's not a, thanks for getting with us and we'll call you back soon. It's you get it right away and then you can schedule right then and there. So I just wanted to see what anybody else's input was on that feature and what they liked or didn't like, or if they used it or not.
Yeah, I didn't even know that you could do an instant quote. I've just always used the scheduler.
Oh, yeah. And so basically all the client or agent does is they go in there, they put in the property's address, and it'll have your different service features like, residential inspection with whatever add-ons, or your bundle and save. They click whatever, type in a property address, and then they get a quote right then and there. And then once they get the quote, it says book now, and then you can carry on through with the rest of the booking.
Yeah, I've been using it as well. I've had a couple, come of it. I'm the type of guy, just, let all options on the table. And some people, they don't want to schedule. They just want to see what you got going on. I don't post my prices on my website because there's just so many variables. I'm just not even, I'm rural. So, we got distance and everything. And so I'm with you. I'm like, why not give people options? Some people don't want to schedule. They just want to quote, but then they like the quote and they're like, okay, I'll schedule. And I will tell you that every person who's gotten a quote from my site has ultimately scheduled. There's not a lot, but they've ultimately scheduled. So I think it's useful.
I've had some, I don't know about with the actual online quote, but I know I've had some agents that use my scheduler. And I don't know if they just start and realize they're not getting a price right away, but I get the notification that they've started and then we'll never get an actual scheduling. So I'm not really sure what that's all about, but a lot of times, at least with my agents starting out, I do try to really emphasize, hey, check out the quote feature. And then once they become, hopefully an agent that's pretty much knows they're going to schedule with me for their clients, or then go ahead and use the scheduler because it's just as easy. So,
quick question based on that. I don't know how long you guys been doing this, but I'm new. I'm green. When you guys talk about doing the scheduler, like somebody calls, I think Chris said it, somebody calls you and they say, yeah, okay, we want to get it done. do they go back and go through the scheduler, or you just schedule it yourself?
What I do is especially if it's a client, because I don't know if they're by computer or a phone, I will typically, if I'll just jump on my website and I will go through whatever. If I know they're going to schedule with me, I'll just do the online scheduler. But if they're wanting to know what a price would be, then I just jump on my website and go through the quote feature. And then if they're all good with everything, then scheduling's all set up and done.
For me, if I can piggyback on that, so I'm usually on the go or I'm doing something else, and I just don't always have the time to hop on a computer. So, and we all know that the phone is kind of a pain, even though you not use the actual app scheduler. For me, I want to lock it in, and so what I do is I send them a preformed text. Hey, great talking to you. This is the stuff I need. Here's my website to go read about my reviews and blah, blah, blah. And I just have them text me back that information, and it locks their phone number in, locks their information in. And then when I can get to it later, I'll schedule it. I have lost probably 2 or 3 inspections out of a lot of doing that. So you run the risk of them being like, I'm texting them. I mean, they'll go to the next guy, but very, very rarely. But for me, that's how I've just chosen to do it. Now I'm borderline because I'm about to blow up Florida here, hopefully. I'm going to get a virtual assistant. That's why I was asking Brian about his. There's a couple out there that I have my eye on. And I have to go that way just because I just can't keep doing the way I'm doing because I don't have enough time of the day. So, But for now, when you're starting out, when you start to get busy, you're out inspecting in the field and you don't have time to sit there and schedule it, have a preform. I have it in my iPhone. I have in my notes section, and I'll just read you what I wrote, if you don't mind.
No, of course.
No. I said you can see it's right on my text right there, and I just copy it and I paste it right in their thing. It says, "Great speaking with you. The info we need is your name, email, address of home to be inspected, agent's name, the date you officially signed the contract." And then I have a space and I say, "Please go to Cochran Home Inspections to see sample reports, read recent and recent reviews. If you have any questions, we look forward to working with you." And that has been just awesome. And I can just have them send me back the information. When I get time later on that night, I schedule everything up. And so that's worked for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. See, I'm in Jersey, and you have like literally a window of minutes because if you don't answer the phone, they just move on to the next guy. So something like that would help me tremendously. Thank you.
Yeah. And I knew that was something I was going to have to change up because, so I've been in business for about 6 years, but I just moved to a new market. And so things are a little bit slow moving to a new market during COVID. So yeah, I knew I was going to have to do something like that at some point. And I'm pretty interested in the whole virtual assistant thing too. I know of a really great virtual assistant in the Kansas City area that's a licensed real estate agent, but I don't know if she'll be willing to work with me or not because she works with Brian. So, but yeah, I'm definitely what you just said about that email or that text. That's great. That's something that I'm going to note down, and I'm probably going to start developing that myself. Sorry, somebody's.
Yeah, and what I do, and this is just the careful verbiage you kind of want to put out. I make sure that they know, and I tell them this. I'm like, look, all you have to do is text back those 5 bits of information, and then I'll take that information, and from there I will schedule it up, work with the agents to get access to the house. You don't have to worry about anything else. And I think that's important because there are, especially in my area, a lot of older folks retiring down here and they're not tech savvy. Now, obviously, most people have a cell phone now and texting capabilities. Very few don't. But I just want to make sure that they're comfortable that that's all they're going to have to do. I think by adding that, I think the success rate of them not moving on to the next guy, and I've had a few I've lost, they never sent back. And I was like, why didn't you, oh, I found somebody else. Okay. But I'm telling you, it's less than one handful of people out of a lot of inspections. So, but
and
I think putting that in.
You might have saved a bunch by having that though.
Yeah, exactly. Because I answer the phone, get them on the phone, sell myself, and say, hey, text me the information. And then later that night, I schedule it up and boom, done.
Sure.
So.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's absolutely awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I've started using Small Hive, one of the call centers. integrated with Spectora, separate from the virtual assistant. She doesn't answer the phone or anything. She just does back end stuff.
What's that called? That program they're using?
Well, Small Hive, it's a call center. One of the call centers that's integrated with Spectora.
Yeah, I just seen the other day that there's another one maybe that I had never seen. But I don't think it was Small Hive. It was something else. But
yeah, I saw that as well.
Have they cut ties with ACC?
No, I think they're still integrated there.
Okay, I just knew
I
there was
did.
I heard that.
I just knew there was some stuff with ACC and Porch and everything. So
I heard the ACC. Yeah, there is. Basically, I think they bought it, and Porch bought ACC. So, and the integration, by the way, between ACC and Spectora is not the best. It's not rock solid.
No,
so
it's not.
I've heard of Small Hive, and I thought that's the one I'm looking at. To be honest with you, I didn't want to throw it out there, but yeah, and they actually will go into, you just create an account for them under your staff, which is free, which is great that Spectora enables us to create unlimited amounts of admin folk. And so, yeah, they'll just go in there and they'll do the scheduling and stuff. Let me ask you this, and basically, since you've thrown that out there and you've opened up that can, will they do follow-up, like when a client's got a problem? Will they deal with that, or is that still going to go to you? What is their...
Yeah, like she's been pretty awesome. I work with Patricia. I think there's maybe a few people there, but it's small enough that it's very personal. She just knows me and kind of knows how I do stuff by now. But yeah, I've had like a call and someone had some issue and she sent it to me. Actually, what she did, she sent me the response that she had written and said, I'm about to say this. Let me know if you agree, you know, if you want me to change anything. I said, sounds great. She sent it off and that was that. I mean, it was like, I don't even remember what it was, but she just pretty much handled it. And I was like, you are sent from God. This is not like, I was not expecting that, but it was pretty nice to just have somebody else thinking in the right way, using the right kind of a tone and the right words with the client to really kind of basically deal with it for me. So it was good.
Hey, if nobody else has any questions about this particular subject, if I could reshare my screen, I thought of something that I've done that I would like to share to the group.
sure.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, we kind of need to get on track anyway with actions. All the people watching this on YouTube now are like, all right, guys, get back to the meat.
Okay, so this is one I've really developed. I mean, my advanced well inspection is going to be developed here shortly, and it isn't going to be that much, but one I take a lot of pride in. I sat down and did a lot of work on it. It took me a minute. Is my water testing. So we do the standard water test. I don't know for any of you rural guys, but this is, I'm not telling you have to set this up for water. It's just kind of how I did it. You could do something similar for mold, air quality testing, and so forth. But what I did was, in essence, is I changed the name. So how I upload the report that comes from the lab is what's going to fire based on what I've gotten back. So in this case, if I get an absent report on the water test, I actually put this exact thing, water test and A in it, okay, in the parentheses. And that's going to send out a certain text and email and say, hey, nothing, no further action, you're good to go. If I've got a coliform that was present, then I do a PC, okay, and that's going to send out, hey, you have coliform in your system, it's common and so forth, and it's going to do that. And then I run for E. coli, and it says, hey, there's been E. coli, and if you have E. coli, you're almost always going to have coliform because they're both a bacteria and they're both present. And so that is kind of what I've got going on, and it changes the text and the email pretty extensively when it sends it out. So it says, hey, this is your, and I'm going to use color coding, by the way. So I'm going to be going in and tweaking all that. I didn't even think about color coding, which is kind of silly, but so it basically says, hey, this is your results, present for E. coli. Here immediately you want to do this. You need to shock it. You need to retest it midterm. And then, hey, by the way, if you want, we can shock your well for you for a fee. And so we offer that up. And I've already had take that offer up. They're like, oh, you shocked? Okay, yeah, come and do it. And so we're going to go do it. We charge $175 plus extra mileage if it's over, I think, 30 miles. And so that's kind of what we did. So it just kind of shows you ways that you can change the name of how you upload the report, and that'll change everything about what emails and texts are fired and the services you offer and so forth. So that was all I remembered beyond what I showed you before.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in replacing anything that just looks like a wall of text. Use different colors, bullet points, bold, bold, use headings and things like that. Just so that way people can visually bounce around the screen and pick up on what it is that you're getting at and what you're saying, because no one's going to read a paragraph. They'll read the heading, and if you have a bullet point, they'll read like the first couple of words of each bullet point, and that way you get them to read more things. And usually, like I said, I started getting a lot better response rate once I did that. Once I added bullet points here, the extra services that we do. Just last week, no, it was one for this week, I got an email back, hey, yes, please add radon and termite. Well, right now we're doing like between 30 and 40 inspections a month. So that paid my advanced bill just on that one response that I got. So I'm a big believer in actions, and I think it's a total slam dunk. And I know that if you're not using it, you're definitely leaving money on the table. And I feel like I'm leaving a lot of money on the table by not optimizing it, which is why I wanted to do this, so I get ideas off of other people that I can use.
Yeah, and hey, just for the record, one other thing, and I agree with everything you just said. And so I was an intel guy in the Navy. I'm retired Navy, and so we use bullet points because we had to in our intel briefings. And so that was an important thing. That's why I do that. I just didn't think to add color, so I need to add color. It's awesome. But hey, just so everybody who's watching this knows, I do have a request into Spectora to add, and I just literally lost my train of thought. You know, when it's just running away and you're trying to grab at it. So when I think about what I just was having added to Spectora, I have a feature that I have them adding that I want. I'll pop back on. But anyways, I'm good.
All right. So any questions? Anybody have something they're like thinking? They wish they could set it up, they're not sure how, or anything at all? Because we're winding down. We're getting close to an hour. That's probably a good time to cap it.
I remember what I was going to say.
All right, do it. Hurry.
So, right now we have agent and client, and I'm like, okay, we have all these actions, and we're going to be sending actions to contractors and to lenders and all these other people. I said the most important thing they can add right now to help us, especially guys that are using actions, is the ability to add extra people into our contacts. So I know they know about this. I know it's on the docket to happen. I hope it happens sooner rather than later. But all you guys that are using Advanced or thinking about it or watching this video, you just use automations. It is a definite thing we all need to push, because we need to be able to add the extra people into our.
Yeah, and it's one thing if you know it's the same person every job, you can put their phone number particularly or their email address on that action, but it's not like the placeholder thing where it goes out to a different title. Really is what you want. You want to be able to have more titles that you can associate with each job. And you said that's on the features board. We can go upvote that.
Yeah, I believe it is, but I've hit them pretty heavily, kind of just in the back, saying this would be a great thing to add if you guys can do that. I think they're working it. I thought I saw one of the bubble gods came back and said that was on the docket to do. So.
All right. Any questions? If not, we'll shut it down.
Thanks for putting this together.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a few notes here.
So did I.
Turns into money.
Awesome help, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, much appreciated. Thank you.
All right. You guys have a good day. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
See you, man.